All right, so why don't we get started? I'm going to offer a meditation to start with during Shavasana that is, in theory, helpful for insomnia, helpful for stress. So you'll see how you feel at the end of it, okay? So as you're settling in, please just notice the two sides of your body resting into the ground. So breathe in. As you breathe out, feel that the shoulder girdle has two sides. The pelvis has two sides. You can certainly notice, of course, that your arms are resting separately, your legs are resting separately. You may even notice that the skull itself can be sensed as two-sided. Bring your attention to your upper back and your arms. A few breaths where you feel during the exhalation that the two sides of the upper back and both arms rest deeply into the earth. And then bring your attention over to one side of your upper back, either one is fine, one side of your upper back and the arm on that side. And feel the in-breath, and as you breathe out, feel that one side of the upper back, your upper arm, your lower arm, your hand fall into the ground. Notice the breath movement in the body wherever you notice it. And just keep looking for and feeling for a sense of sinking, dropping, resting in the one side of your upper back, your shoulder joint, your arm, your hand, your fingers. And when you're ready, begin to feel both sides of your upper back resting again, both arms, both hands. It's quite likely they'll feel a little bit different from one another. My intention is to feel my in-breath And then as I feel my out-breath, I feel both sides of the entire upper back, the arms, the hands resting. I'm just noticing the sensations, noticing similarity and difference. And then shift your attention over to the second side of your upper back. The second side resting, same side arm and hand and fingers settling during the exhalation. You may notice other parts of that side of your body resting deeply. Your focus may be exclusively on the one side of the upper back and the arm and the hand. And then migrate your attention back to the whole upper back, dropping, spreading, easing, and both arms and both hands. Give all of that to the ground as you exhale. And just take a few more breaths and spread your awareness along the body, along the back body, all the way down to your heels, along the back body up to the back of your skull. Feel the length and the two-sided nature. Feel your breathing. Take your time. When you'd like to move, begin to move. If you would like a longer Shavasana or would like even to just end the practice right there, please pause the video. If you're moving, just give yourself time to honor whatever your body needs in terms of movement, large or small, slow or quick. And so just to give you a little insight into the focus of the practice, we'll focus on the connection between moving the arms, which will mobilize the shoulder girdle, and we hope take us into release of the upper spine, the thoracic spine, the neck, and the skull. Right, so while you're on your back, please just bring your legs into a position that is really comfortable for you. Knees can be bent, legs can be long. And let's start with some circling of the arms, a few potential variations. You can hold on to your forearms, right? Elbows nice and soft and bent, and begin to circle around. And as you circle, and certainly at any time, change direction. Feel how arm movement leads to shoulder girdle movement. Your rib cage will be moving. And if your rib cage is moving, your thoracic spine is also moving. Right? So just see if you can follow or even visualize that chain of motion. Arms, shoulder girdle, ribs, spine. You can always lengthen out your arms, fingers interlaced. So you just have a longer lever. Perhaps the circle will feel larger, different. Yeah, circling will lead to yawning. Another wonderful release. Good. Yeah, so always changing directions in your own time. You can even take those interlaced fingers and turn the palms over. Right? Each time you change your arms, the sensation and experience will likely change in the arms themselves, the shoulder girdle, the ribs, and the spine. Yeah, sometimes the head will start to roll. Just let that happen. That's a beautiful release for the neck. Certainly pause at any time. You can let go of your interlaced fingers. You can rest your arms on the ground. Yeah, take a few breaths and then continue. There's another very nice pattern for circling the arms, which is crossing the arms over the body and then opening the arms wide and letting them slide down the floor. Right? So your arms remain mobile and heavy. Yeah, you can go one way and you can actually go the other way. You can slide the wide arms up, 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 up towards overhead and then cross over. And let the arms slide down towards the legs. You can do this action with only one arm at a time. Right? So whatever movement you choose, any circling movement that you choose to do with your arm or your arms, there is a cascade effect we're feeling for from arm to shoulder girdle. Maybe you feel your shoulder blade, it's moving around in relationship to the ground, your ribs, your spine. And again, resting at any time, feeling arm weight, upper back weight, and breath. And other basic movements of the arms, letting the arms come overhead and rest overhead on the ground. Letting the arms come down again by your sides and rest by your side. Of course, you can have one arm up and one arm down. Right. Again, this very simple movement, this very simple movement invites movement deep in the body, deep in the body. Yeah. Arms long, long and shifting. And there's, of course, arms wide, like a big bird of prey, wide, wide, wide to the sides, and then crossing over your chest and resting. Yeah. Find the resting point with wide arms. Find the resting in the soft hug. And then there's the choice to rest for any length of time and breathe and feel the shape of your upper body and the resting of your upper body. If you feel the need to come off of your back, a little twist might be a good idea. Can be very nice actually to change the arms while you're in the twist. Right? So you might rest, for instance, with the legs to one side and just try out arms overhead for a breath. Or the typical arms wide at shoulder level. There's even a little version where you have the legs to one side and both arms to the opposite side, right? And some people like to hold on to their forearms when the arms are resting to the same side. Just explore what gives you the feeling that you can let go of the weight of the arms. All right, so just a little twisting, the best twist for you at the moment. And just explore the options in the upper torso, in the upper limbs. Might even be really interesting to lie in the twist and do that soft hug. What does that feel like? What does that feel like? And then a couple massaging suggestions for the upper body by shifting weight. Right? So one thing to do is to simply come into little boats and then rock your body all the way to one side. So you're lying in a fetal position on one side. And I find I like to slide my bottom arm underneath my head, so I really feel like I can rest my head. And just in your own time, rock from side to side. So clearly there's no twist in this at all. I'm in little boat in the middle, and then I rock my way to the other side. So as you go through the middle, just notice in particular that you can pour the weight of your upper back into the ground. And then what you might do as you rest on your side is just notice any breath movement anywhere in your torso. So go back and forth. Go back and forth, rocking back and forth a few more times. Again, thinking of this rocking back and forth as a potential massage or shift of weight through the upper back as you come through the middle. Yeah, one of the hazards is you end up off your mat sometimes. Yeah. Now, the other posture, or actually another posture, there's not only two, where you might feel a sense of weight rolling in and out of the upper back would be bridge pose. Right? So just add bridge pose in. And I would suggest as you roll in and out of bridge pose and notice and feel the weight shifting a little bit more fully into the upper back and then a little bit out of the upper back as you descend, that you try out changing your arms once in a while, right? So arms down by your sides, or wide or overhead. Those are 3 good ones to start with. And as you choose to change the position of your arms when you go in and out of your bridge pose, just notice how much of your upper back is on the ground. Maybe notice if there's any position of the arms that allows you to rest your upper back more completely, in a more satisfying manner. And at any time, just rest with your torso fully settled on the ground, or draw your knees into little boats. Some people find twisting to be one of the more restful positions, or also individual. Yeah, that's it. If you feel the desire to lengthen out your legs, little boat twist with the legs long. You can always just lengthen your legs out on the ground if you're lying on your back, or lengthen your legs in the air. Okay. So whatever you're doing at this moment, whatever's best for your body at this moment, once in a while, just remember to bring your awareness back to your upper back. And just let it rest back into the ground. Feel your breathing. And for you, it may be that the upper back rests more fully or completely if you also notice your arms resting heavy, settled. Before we think about changing orientations, please just lengthen your legs or stretch your legs in some way that is best for you. I'll give a few suggestions. Again, you might just lengthen your legs up towards the ceiling and shake them a little bit. Or a very nice thing to do is to bend one knee, put the foot on the floor, and lengthen the other leg up towards the ceiling. Yeah, that's right. And if you hold on to that leg somewhere on the back of the thigh or behind the knee, you might circle that leg a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's lots and lots of ways to release the legs. We're just going to take a moment to give the legs a bit of attention. Mm-hmm. You might pause every once in a while with whatever leg movement you've chosen. Just pause in any shape and take an exhalation. Notice that the upper back maybe could rest a little more. Maybe you could let go a little more. Even if you're in a position where you feel like your shoulder joints are coming off the mat, let's say you're holding onto your leg, the upper back can still fall back, even if it's not in full contact with the ground. Right, so gravity is acting on the body, and you're letting that happen. Okay. When you're ready, maybe just roll over to child's pose and take a few breaths in child's pose. I'm just going to suggest 3 possible positions for the arms in child's pose. Please work with 1 or 2 or 3. So arms long, I would say, but still feeling as if they're released and heavy, long in front of you. Right? Or arms still in front of you, but elbows bent a little bit more. And notice any change in your upper back. Any change in the sense of the feeling of softness, falling, breath movement. And the third, which is a classic position for the arms in child's pose, is arms down by your side, so your hands are a bit closer to your feet. Right? So you may enjoy all of these and feel comfortable exploring all of these, but again, you may only want to do 1 or 2. So you could even do an asymmetrical version, which would be 1 arm back by your legs and 1 arm forward or bent a little. All right, so please just take your time. Change your arms in your own timing. Whatever positioning the arms are in, they're heavy and falling. The head and the pelvis are heavy and falling. When you feel the impulse or the desire to lengthen your legs, you might go directly to down dog, or you might come into hands and knees and shake one leg long behind you. Just make sure you're not too close to a wall. Okay, yeah. So yeah, in cat the legs can shake, or you can put the foot on the ground and reach through your heel. Or it might feel fantastic just to go straight to down dog and take a few breaths. Right. If you happen to be in downward facing dog, as always, please adjust your feet wide, or maybe even wide and turned in a little bit, so you feel very settled, or as settled as possible through the lower body. Some of you might want to bend one knee at a time, or bend both knees for a breath or 2. Yeah, descending back to child when you feel it's time to just have a quiet break. I just want to mention one variation in cat pose, which is very full of movement, perhaps even more full of movement than cat pose typically is, and that's the variation where you circle the rib cage. Right? So you come into your typical cat, and then that's it, Sue, yeah. The rib cage is circling round and round and round and round, as if it's going round and round in a barrel that is fallen over. Right? And the idea here is that we're feeling the ribs circling, which invites movement in the thoracic spine in particular, and the shoulder girdle, and the neck, and the head. Right? So just circle one way, circle the other way. Yeah, feel all that wonderful movement in your body. Mm-hmm. So what I'd suggest is you work with this variation of cat for another few minutes, certainly any other variation of cat that you enjoy. Perhaps go in and out of child and down dog a few times. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're relatively still, please just notice and feel your breathing. Yeah, even in down dog, feel your breathing. Beautiful. Oh, good idea, Sue. She's circling around in down dog. It's fun. All right, so whatever you're doing, make sure you feel satisfied that you're complete. So you might want one more circling cat, or perhaps one more down dog. Some of you were shaking the one leg in cat. You can even lift the leg in down dog and shake the leg. Yeah, like really, 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 really shake the leg. Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. And then perhaps finish off with the standing forward bend. Take a few breaths. You decide how many. Heavy head as always. Right? So that heavy head is really cueing your upper body to release. And then soft knees, bend the knees, and roll up when it's time. Head is last. Yeah, so once you're standing, and I would stand for a few breaths, it's good to remember that the shoulder girdle just drapes like a cape over your rib cage. Right? So what that means is every time you breathe in, just feel your in-breath. Every time you breathe out, feel the shoulder girdle fall, drape over your rib cage. That's it. In fact, you might feel your shoulders rise a little bit on the in-breath and then fall with gravity on the out-breath. And we're going to remember this as we do a few of the more traditional yoga postures for the arms and shoulder girdle. So please perhaps do your version of eagle. There's the gentle hugging version of eagle. Right? So the important thing is that your elbows are crossed. Right? Or the more wrapped around, arms wrapped around and hands touching version of eagle. Yeah. Right, so you can simply just feel your shoulder girdle rise on the in-breath and fall on the out-breath here. Right? It's a really lovely way to practice eagle. If you're wanting to move a little bit, one can twist, right? So turn a little bit in eagle. That's it, or side bend. That's it. It's also very nice to slightly bend the knees and roll forward, maintaining the position of the arms. The head drops and drops and drops and drops. Right? Notice the feeling of the posture while you're upside down. And of course, you'll plant your feet and roll up when you're ready. All right, just have a look at your arms. Notice which one is on top, please. Right, just say left or right to yourself. Yeah, and then unravel and shake the arms a little bit. Maybe swing them overhead, swing them side to side. Good. Yeah, maybe even swing them so you end up twisting. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Yeah, good. And then eagle on the other side. Yeah, so wrap either I want to hug. Oh, I think that was my first side. Hug or create the rotini noodle kind of wrapping around shape. Yeah. All right, so I'll just repeat some of the options. I could stand here and breathe in, breathe out, and just let my shoulder girdle drape and fall. Yeah. That's the natural movement inside your body that's possible every single breath. Okay. Shoulders rise and fall. Okay. Or you can enjoy the twisting, the side bending, and of course just at any point turning the posture upside down and letting the head hang. That's it. Yeah, soft knees. Yeah. So of course, any time you rest forward, you determine at what point you're going to plant your feet and roll back up. Yeah, and we could say that counter pose or the counter movement is, really letting the arms be free, letting them swing in many directions, one forward, one back. That can lead you into a twist. Up and down. Some people like to swing one arm round and round, like a big whirligig. Forward, back. So then let's do a posture where the arms are behind the body. A couple options. There is that classic posture that's called reverse namaste or reverse prayer pose, where you take the hands, make a prayer position, and then turn the fingertips up. Right? So this can be really challenging for the wrists. You might want to leave the fingertips down. One of my favorite options is to just rest the hands on the back of the pelvis. Right? Your shoulder girdle is doing essentially the same thing in all of these. Some are just a little softer. Right? So take a breath or two and let your hands, whatever position they're in, rest against your body as you breathe out. If my hands rest, my arms, my shoulders, my ribs can rest. My upper spine can ease out. Right, and then choose which variations you'd like to add in. There's just forward bending and rolling back up. Sometimes really lovely to just do that a few times. There's turning and side bending. Yeah. You can always just release your arms from the position, shake them. Maybe do eagle again, and then return your hands to this hands behind the back position. Yeah, change the hands while you're bending forward. Sure, that's a great idea. Good. Again, your counter pose is simply to do eagle or release the arms and shake them vigorously or swing them in some way. Yeah. Why don't we do one more sort of organized twist while we're standing? And I'd suggest a warrior two, right? So if you just take a little step forward with your foot, remember that's, it's just your natural step. Your front knee is bent. Yeah, just have a look down at your feet. Make sure your back leg is parallel. And of course, that would mean your toes are pointing forward. Feel wobbly, just take your legs a little wider apart. All right, so we might start with the first warrior, which maybe we'll just swing the arms here. Just swing the arms up and down, just swing them. If you want to leave them overhead for a couple breaths, that's lovely. But maybe your warrior one is only arm swinging. Beautiful. All right, then of course, warrior two, you might start with your arms down by your sides. Take a moment, exhale, feel, that's it, Sue, fantastic. Feel the pelvis drop, and then one arm swings forward, one back, and you've got a twist. Yeah, your arms lead you into the twist of the ribs, the spine, right? And if Sue wanted to stay in the twist, she might think, breathe in, breathe out, and rest the lower body. Beautiful. Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So I can swing my arms, so I feel that twisting, kind of lubricated twisting action in the upper body. I might bend my elbows a little bit. That might change my experience in the upper body. You could even actually do this twist without the arms at all, right? Because the main twisting action, the main twisting action is in the upper torso. The lower torso falls. That's it. That's it. All right. All right. When you feel like you are satisfied with the first side, maybe just bring your legs underneath you. You might want to shake each leg. You might want to rest forward again for a few breaths. And then we'll just see how the second side feels. Okay. Good. All right, so again, start with a very good, simple step forward. Take a little bend in that knee. Make sure you feel stable. If you don't feel stable, a little wider stance. Yeah, adjust your stance so you internally feel really solid. Right? And then one little measure, actually, of how solid or stable you are is to swing the arms. If you knock yourself over a little bit, then you know you need to adjust your stance. Okay? The arms can remain overhead if you want to rest. It's still warrior one if you're swinging your arms. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Okay. And then at some point, just see what the twist feels like on this side. Right? Remember, the twist is in the ribs, thoracic spine, shoulder girdle, neck, head. Your arms may be leading you. Yeah. If If you enjoy staying in the twist, just follow your breathing. I breathe in, I breathe out, I rest my lower body. Right? That frees my upper body to maybe actually spontaneously turn just a little bit more. That's it. Okay. Again, you determine when you feel like that's the right amount of practice of that posture on the second side. Okay. And then simply bring your legs underneath you. Right. I would suggest, a little bit of leg shaking, perhaps even a small forward bend. Just the head dropping forward, or the feeling that the head and the shoulder girdle falls a little bit. You need not go all the way down. Right? And then maybe a tiny standing back bend just for a moment. With or without the arms. You can always support your head with your interlaced fingers. That's a really nice way to do like a lounge chair version of the standing back bend. Good. Okay. So I thought for the last pose, what we often call the peak pose, we would do some variation of shoulder stand, because we've done all this preparation with the upper body. So a couple of options. Bridge pose, just lying on your back on the ground. That's one variant. You could pull your mat up against a wall and do bridge pose with your feet on the wall. Or you could do full shoulder stand. One way we get into shoulder stand around here is to rock like a little ball up and down your back, and then eventually just let the legs grow up into shoulder stand. Eden, you want to demonstrate that one for a sec? Yeah, so roll up and down like a little rocking horse up and down the spine in a ball. Yeah. Sometimes I just do this. This is a beautiful preparation for shoulder stand. And then if you rest with your legs going towards what we call plow, just for a moment. All right, she's going to think about her upper back resting and her legs slowly growing kind of like a plant up towards the ceiling. So it doesn't matter how far the legs go. What matters is that the upper back is resting. Yeah, hands on the back is beautiful. When you're ready to come out, you just roll out like a little ball. Sue, can you just demonstrate the one with bridge pose on the wall? Thank you. Okay. So if you already know these, please just find your way into your version of shoulder stand. So again, the bridge pose on the wall, which Sue is going to demonstrate. Actually, there's even another one right here. Here she is right now. This is a variation of shoulder stand. Just resting with legs long on the wall, right? So that's great. You can think of resting the upper back, settling, resting the arms. And if she wants a little bit more weight, therefore release through the upper back, she can bend the knees just a bit, just enough to put the feet on the wall, plant the feet and roll up a little bit, roll up a lot. Frankly, whatever feels most comfortable for the upper back, but also the neck and head in this situation. Right? So she'll determine how long she stays here. That determination is based on the comfort, again, of her upper back, her neck, and her head. And then she'll roll down. It can feel great to just roll down, rest for a few breaths, and then maybe do it one more time. Okay, so engage in the version of shoulder stand that seems best for you right now. Okay. Whatever variation you choose, it's the shoulder girdle and the depth of resting through the shoulder girdle during the exhalation that we're particularly focused on. Right? If you can feel your arms resting, that's also very helpful. And, come out of the shoulder stand or the bridge pose that you're working with. Rest and try a second time. When you rest, rest with your breath. Feel your breath. Notice any part of your body on the ground falling more fully into the ground. And I'd say the conclusion to this part of the practice is to, of course, rest with your whole torso on the ground. Your knees can be bent or your legs can still be up the wall. Just rock your head from side to side. It's a very nice little movement meditation to feel the head, the neck, and maybe all the way down into that thoracic spine, moving a little bit, just because you're rocking the head. Right, so that might be enough for you. You might want to do a fuller twist or tuck your legs into little boats. Just let your body be your guide. And then when you're ready, just let your body tell you what position to take for Shavasana. On your back. You could stay with legs up the wall. You can go to legs up the wall. Okay. Please settle in. All right, so we spent a good deal of time focusing very precisely on the upper back. Now just let yourself feel. Notice what sensations are coming to you. How does my body feel as it settles? How does my breath feel? And I thought I would end this practice with a poem by Richard Wagamese. He's a Canadian Indigenous writer and poet. What I'll do is I'll read the poem twice, and then I will leave you to absorb whatever is of interest to you. And you can rest for as long as you like. One windy day in summer, many summers ago, a hawk hurtled straight down at me. 10 feet above my head, she spread her wings and stopped in mid-dive. I heard the whoosh of her wings against the sound of the wind and the exhalation of my own breath. 3 things collided in an instant. Wind, hawk, breath. There was no separation. We were connected, joined by air, In the flash of that sacred moment, I understood what it is to be alive, to be connected, to be aware of that connection, to be grateful for it. To breathe is to take in the wind of all breath. To exhale slowly is to open myself and glide over everything I feel. One windy day in summer, many summers ago, a hawk hurtled straight down at me. 10 feet above my head, she spread her wings and stopped in mid-dive. I heard the whoosh of her wings against the sound of the wind and the exhalation of my own breath. 3 things collided in an instant: wind, hawk, breath. There was no separation. We were connected, joined by air. In the flash of that sacred moment, I understood what it is to be alive, to be connected, to be aware of that connection, to be grateful for it. To breathe is to take in the wind of all breath. To exhale slowly is to open myself and glide over everything I feel.